I can speak for both of us. I think we're our goal for you to leave at the end with something useful that you can take back and put into practice. And with that in mind, we've developed a participant manual. So if you go into your swag bag,
in the green folder on the right side.
yeah, you'll find something that looks something kind of like this, hopefully. Oh, hold on. Let me show you.
I guess the other thing.
Oh, this is good.
Yeah. We're not here to tell you what to do.
It looks like this.
We're only here to kind of help guide you in what you're going to do and help you find ways to make it easier, make it like better, like, you know, everybody's going to be different. Everybody's going to have the things they need to do or something that works with their community. So with their students. So we're not going to tell you that you should do dish X on day 3. You're going to tell us what you're going to do, and we're going to try and help you as much as we can to make that smoother, easier. I was a chef for 35 years, 300 meals twice a day for some of you. That's a lot of work, right? So we're here to try and help you guys like smooth that out, to do it right, and make it, you know, not seem as burdensome sometimes as it can seem, right? So we're not here to tell you what to do. We're here to have you tell us what you're going to do and help. Okay.
So if you want to have a look, there's some, the manual will follow along with the rest of the agenda. And there's spots for you to take notes or not, whatever you would like. But the idea is that you'll take this manual back and have something to kind of remember. So it's not all, you know, lost when you leave. So feel free to use it as much as possible. And we're going to refer to it as we move through the next couple of days.
And if all we do is talk at you in the next 2 days, you're not going to remember anything. So we'd like it to be a two-way. And if you guys have a conversation that you want to have, and it's a, you know, takes us on a long tangent, but if that's what's important for you guys to talk about, for us to try and help, and that's what we'll talk about. So we're pretty flexible. So
Yeah.
make it work for you.
Yeah. So our first session is menu planning. So we're going to look a little bit about just a basic menu plan. We'll get that together, and then throughout the next sessions, we're going to build on it. So this is going to form kind of the foundation for the rest of our time together. But before we get into that, I want to show you this cute little video that I found.
Do you think school lunches should be provided by the government?
Yes. Donald Trump, I'm watching you.
Oh, wow. What the? I've never had water at my school. Always chocolate milk, always.
Tofu with, I think,
Tofu?
kind of like Dad's, what's
Mapo
it called?
tofu?
Yeah, mapo tofu.
Perfect. It is mapo tofu.
Oh my goodness, our dad makes this and it's delicious.
Mapo tofu is always welcome.
You don't like mapo tofu.
I do actually, Talbot.
Why don't you like Dad's?
Dad does a great job.
Okay, I'm just not gonna use this. Can I have a fork?
Nope.
What?
Nope.
How? I don't know how to use chopsticks. No. Can I use my hands for this?
Sure.
Yes. You what? Kale.
Close.
Bok choy.
It's Chinese broccoli.
That's bok choy.
In China, at least in smaller towns, if they aren't having school lunch, everybody goes home, eats food together, and takes a nap.
That sounds great. Ooh, prune juice.
No.
Oh my gosh. Now this is amazing.
Wait, why are you opening a banana like that?
Because that's how you open a banana.
You open a banana from the bottom?
Yeah, it's so easy for monkeys. Why don't we do it?
So one cool thing about school lunches in Brazil is that the government,
Huh?
all the kids in Brazil eat a free school lunch that the government pays for.
Really?
Do you think school lunches should be provided by the government?
Yes. Donald Trump, I'm watching you.
What is like the normal 8th grade school lunch right now?
Oh gosh.
So every day,
It's so gross.
They
Like,
have hamburgers, cheeseburgers, veggie burger.
But they're not like
They're not
hamburgers. They're like
fantastic.
weird buns with like patties.
They
that
try their best.
I really feel like they could do
My
better.
school, the lunch ladies do great.
Ooh.
Oh, muy bien.
Ooh,
Is this
it's a baguette.
Italian?
French.
It's Italian.
So good.
Don't spill, don't spill, don't spill. Ooh, I didn't spill.
This is lettuce.
That's arugula.
Arugula.
Wow. It's like sour, but not the sour like Sour Patch Kids sour.
It's against the law in Italy for them to serve students anything fried.
That's really smart.
You cannot not make me not eat fried chicken.
Well, this looks Mediterranean as well, but I don't know if it's Mediterranean.
Syrian.
Very close. I don't know if you'll be able to just guess
Turkey?
this one. What did you say?
Turkey.
Perfect guess.
It isn't. What the heck?
Oh, the mash is delicious.
When you dip the beef in the potatoes. Shut up. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh, that is delicious.
Wait, so this is their school food? Like this is like.
This is so nice.
Why is there a raw egg?
What am I gonna do? Is this?
Crack it open.
I'm gonna eat it.
Uh-huh.
You know, it's gonna get on my noodles.
Okay.
Great. Oh, wait. Oh, it's not. Oh, you have to peel it. Gosh.
It's called hard-boiled egg.
Yeah, I know hard-boiled eggs. This isn't a hard-boiled egg.
I hate to break it to you. It is.
Hate to break it to you, but it isn't a hard-boiled egg.
Tell me, like, around where it's from.
It's a country in Africa.
In Africa, Nigeria?
Yeah.
No!
Cavalli, buy a lottery ticket today.
Oh my gosh, this is Nigeria.
Oh my gosh, that's the biggest bite I've ever seen.
Okay, I'm done.
Me too.
So I don't know about you, but when I watched that, I was kind of flashing back to the kids that were in my schools, and I could totally see some of them having those reactions. So I'm curious to hear from you about what school food looks like in your schools. So I'll start. My favorite thing to prepare was always sandwiches, because there was no dishes after. It was really easy cleanup, and it was fast. And then I hated lasagna day. And I always question why I put lasagna on the menu, because every day I just was like, oh, there's so much work with lasagna. So I'd like to hear, what's your favorite thing to cook for students? Or what's their favorite thing to eat? Anyone can start. Meatballs and spaghetti. It's what they like. Do you like to make that?
Right, that's what kids do. But do you like to make it?
This is an honest circle, you can tell.
Usually we eat pizza, something fast and simple.
Yeah.
Just because I'm the only cook at the school, so it's kind of hard for me. I usually cook for 146 kids a day.
Yeah.
So anything easy, like, and sometimes I prepare like spaghetti and meat sauce and garlic toast and soups but pizza is my favorite go-to.
Yeah.
Like
probably,
today.
Probably the kids too.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I love cooking.
Yeah.
You love cooking.
Like, even coffee in the morning, get everything ready. See, it's start setting up the plates and everything. These posts. But they really sometimes they like when we cook, but sometimes they get fuzzy, like, especially with fuzzy vegetables. There's vegetables again.
Yeah.
It's healthy.
Yeah. I'm doing this because I care. Yeah.
Throw it away.
Yeah.
No, but for real, I have to look at the vegetables. I like the good for the kids. Some of them like it, some of them don't.
Yeah.
So,
Good. Well, and maybe we'll come away with some strategies for you in incorporating vegetables in different ways.
Yeah.
Might be something. What about over here, this table?
I'd say chili.
Yes.
There's the pros and cons of chili, right? You got the money expenditures on the hamburger, which is a con.
Yep.
And but my recipe for chili is I can't tell you guys that, okay?
Secret. Okay.
So I love that part and the chili and bannock. Minus I don't know how to make bannock.
Oh,
I just never did all my life. So.
okay. Does your helper make the bannock?
Ricky, do you make the bannock?
So it's just chili.
And is it their favorite to eat?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, kids love chili. When I grew up, I never liked chili, but kids love chili.
Well, as a chef, I've been working. I shouldn't say as a chef, because I was told from my chef beforehand is you never call yourself a chef unless you've been there for years, right? So, but like what I was gonna say was, we have our certain ways of doing certain things in the kitchen. So, with that being said, I've been doing. I made bread. I made all these different things before, but bannock I never ever tried. This is something I never did. And it's almost the same, right? Like making pizza dough or whatever. So.
It's actually easy. It's easier. That's why I'm faster. I'm going to school instead of like ordering bread all the time. I usually make bannock, buy bannock, buns, whatever. Instead of ordering bread.
Yeah. Maybe you can connect and teach him the ways this weekend or over the next couple days. Share your recipe.
Yeah, he serves his chili.
He won't share his chili. I don't think. I'm not gonna share that with you. So, what else? What's a favorite at your school?
Tater tot casserole.
Ooh, what's in that? Tater tots,
Tater
obviously.
tots, hamburger,
Corn.
cheese,
Mushroom soup?
yeah, mushroom soup.
And the hamburger, mixed with
Yeah.
the hamburger.
Onion soup.
Yeah, and it's quick and it's easy. You throw it in the oven and it's one dish done. Yeah, it's good.
We make 10 of them.
10 big pans and then we serve them up. And
They're gone.
There's no leftovers. You don't need to worry about that. That's good. So I'm hearing a lot of beef is a big
Yeah.
staple.
Well, it's the cheapest.
Yeah. And well received. I remember that from my days as well. Did you have something else you wanted to add?
Not really.
Oh,
Never really done that.
you had your hand up there. What about at your school?
We only serve the breakfast program.
Oh, that's right.
And they love scrambled eggs, pancakes, sausage or bacon, porridge and toast, and a lot of fruit and vegetables. And then my famous fried bannock, that's what they love. I'll make it about 10 o'clock, serve it as a snack, but with garlic.
Sounds really good.
So I'll fry about 200 pieces, it's all gone.
And you're frying that on the stove top?
In a big,
Yeah.
yeah.
Great.
So it's the breakfast program. I mix it every day. I'll have oats and porridge one day. The next day cereal. Then the next day will be something, maybe just pancakes or sausage. Then I don't give them eggs every day, but they love them. The scrambled eggs. So I go in about 6:30 in the morning, and it's by the time they're there, it's served.
You're efficient.
Yes.
Yeah. That's good. So the reason we want you to share is because we can all, I think, pull from each other. Maybe Errol will learn how to make bannock.
I was just gonna say that maybe I should go to their school. And
Yes, taste testing.
Well, actually,
Too far. He's next door to me.
a PD day.
I'll get back to you.
Go ahead.
Yeah, okay.
Well, go ahead.
Okay. Snack. So we do serve breakfast, snack, and lunch, right from 8:30 till 11:45.
Okay.
So I'm super busy. So how would it be if we did snack in the afternoon and fed breakfast and lunch? Is that something
Like you're asking to move the
Like,
snack from morning to
do?
afternoon?
Yeah.
I think every school is different, right?
Mhm.
And if you're finding that that's where your students need the extra nutrition or are hungry at that time, you know better.
Brenda, just to sort of like expand on that, we've done a lot of talking to the kids about when they're the hungriest and there's lots of feedback that they would love a snack in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Something before they go home, like they get breakfast in the morning, they get lunch. There's like a 3-hour time period where there's lots of food available and then they're leaving for the day and there's nothing. So moving your snack to the afternoon is not a bad idea. at all.
Yeah, because they do normally get a big lunch.
Yeah,
So-
there's lots of hungry kids at 3 o'clock, I tell ya.
Like,
Yeah.
We
like,
serve snack at 2 o'clock.
2:30, yep.
Yeah.
like
Because
you
they're
guys
out
know
at
the
3,
kids the
right?
best. Like
Yeah.
you actually like build relationships with them. You know who they are. Like you're gonna have a better idea of their need than almost anyone else, right? So if you find that like the afternoon would be better for a snack, then I would encourage you to talk to somebody so that you can make that change, because if it's gonna be in their best interest, it's gonna help the kids as well, right? And then they're gonna feel more fulsome as they go through things. So I would make the changes that you think are best, and just make sure that you're talking to people that are gonna help advocate for you in that change, right?
So from an administrator's point of view, like I've thought about this before, is we have right now, we have breakfast in the morning when the kids come off the bus, and then snack around 10 o'clock or 10:15 or whatever, and then lunch right at lunchtime. So just before like 5
At
to 12,
11:45.
7:45, okay, lunch is out. And there are kids who are hungry in the morning. So if we want to move the snack to the afternoon, what I recommended was giving every teacher a box of you call those granola bars or something, a box of that, just keep it in your storage, and when the kid says, oh man, I'm so hungry, it's 10 o'clock, give them one. And if the kids aren't hungry, you don't have to give them all at all, and then we'll still have a snack at 2 o'clock. So that's kind of like a compromise for some of the teachers who, like, we did talk to the staff, and some of the staff said, well, yeah, but my kids are hungry in the morning. And some kids are hungry, they're hungry in the morning, they're hungry in the afternoon, they're always super hungry, some kids, but.
Yeah, normally we get some like kids that
So then,
get breakfast.
what we
and
could do is
iced
focus on like a more nutritious snack rather than Rice Krispie squares or whatever. It's trying to move away from sugar, salts. We're trying to give them more like apples and oranges. Natural sugar is better than artificial sugar. So that's kind of what we're thinking of doing, but I think the question was raised just to kind of hear, is that a good idea?
Yeah.
If you think it's giving kids what they need overarchingly, it's a good idea.
Especially if it means like, if it is like having the morning snack is hard to do because you're between breakfast and lunch. If doing it in the afternoon means you have more time to focus on making that snack what you want it to be, then it is in the kid's best interest too.
Yeah.
Because it's in your best interest as
It
well.
also give the nutritionists an opportunity to give maybe hot breakfast, because you're not having to rush breakfast out as cereal every day. And then maybe something.
Less of the workload.
Yeah, it creates opportunity for other things.
Right.
If you space it out, like if you're, if you're trying to do 3 meals, even if they're small meals, in a short window, it's still hard. Like you just get one done and then you got snacks and now you're on lunch, right? Like it's a lot, right? So like if
Yes,
you can find ways to
exactly.
kind of stretch your time a little bit
Yeah.
so that it doesn't, you feel like you can be more prepared for it. And it also depends too, there's a lot of schools that don't necessarily serve in one location. Sometimes they have to deliver food to other locations, or the students come in different droves, right? Like you're seeing how it happens. So like to work with you guys to help try and find efficiencies to make it a smoother process, right? Like that's part of it. But I think moving sounds like it's the right thing. So from the nutrition standpoint, this is a very Jordan is better,
Yeah,
smarter,
exactly,
but-
because around Thursday, I am pooped right out.
Surprised you get to Thursday.
Yeah, for real. It's like, oh, do I text Dan? Does he cook for me today? Do I get out of bed?
From the nutrition standpoint, like very, very simply said, if it's in a box, it's probably not as good for them as if it's something you have to do something with, right? So that's like if you're ever wondering if it's going to be good for the kids, generally speaking, if it's in a box, it's less good for them than if you give them an apple. But then the flip side to that also is they won't eat broccoli, or they, right? Like it's hard to get them into those things, especially if you're just introducing it. Like if they haven't had it often up to that point in their lives, right? So then it becomes new and different, and then new and different is sometimes hard to get it, especially, you know, as they kind of get older. Like young kids, I think it's easier to get them to try things, but as they start getting older and older, they get a little bit more picky. But
not only that, if other people like don't like it, like other kids don't like it, they're like, gross, I don't like that kind.
Yeah, like the peer
Like,
pressure.
They're like, oh, I don't like it either.
I know a bunch of like my kids. I used to buy Mr. Noodle, those the case, and by the time they're like in school and grade 1, they're like, I don't like Mr. Noodle. Why? That's for poor people. You gotta buy what did they say? You gotta buy the picture band noodles. Poor people.
Kids are a bad influence on other kids. That's right. Yeah.
Or if they have something donated, that too.
Yeah.
They're like,
See, and that's something taught at home,
yeah,
right?
that's
That's
something
something taught at home.
Or they see it on TikTok or Instagram, right? Like they see it on social media and stuff too, and they just go, right? Like that's
well, this is before social media. Like my kids are all
yeah.
older now. Like my youngest will be 17.
So I think all the things that are coming out are, it sounds like we need a conversation and maybe validation, support, and hearing each other's stories. And, you know, I have that question too. And so hopefully we can answer that over the next day and a half. Oh, yeah.
Sorry, I just want to ask, and does every cook here kind of like employed full-time? Or are you only employed, like you have to be there by a certain time, be out by 1 o'clock? So is that everybody has a full-time salary?
Full time.
Okay.
Full-time. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
I just wanted to ask.
Awesome. Yeah, a lot of schools in Saskatoon are running 4 to 6 hours a
Yep.
day. Yeah. Anyway, so even though you're full-time, you're still way overworked, really busy. So we're hoping that we can do a little bit of planning here and give you some tools to make your time more effective, more efficient. And so that's starting with menu planning. So in this session, we want to talk a little bit about what we should consider when we're menu planning, and then the use of cycle menus in saving you time. So does anyone here use a cycle menu or know what that is?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, you all use a cycle menu?
yeah, I tried to.
Excellent.
Most of them.
Great.
I try,
Yeah, so then we can work on maybe tweaking them a little bit and improving them. Yeah.
I don't know what a cycle menu is. Could you summarize it?
Well, it's a menu that goes in a cycle.
Okay.
So like minus every 2 weeks.
With a set amount of time. So whether it's 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, and it follows that and then it repeats.
Gotcha.
So you're not flying by the seat of your pants every day. You know what's kind of coming next.
I kind of guessed, but I wanted to make sure I was on the right track.
Yeah, that's good. So I do mine every month. Like I make a menu for the whole month of February and I repeat every week.
Yeah.
And then March is like, then so on, it's all different.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for February, week 1, week 2 are the same?
Right, for the whole month is the same.
Okay, so you have a 1 week cycle menu then?
Yeah.
And then in March, it's
Totally different.
Okay.
Yeah.
But still a 1 week cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah. You like making work for
Well,
yourself.
just because I'm alone, right? So I just
You're
try
so busy.
It's all time consuming,
The-
right from 9:30 to 11:45.
As a non-cook except for at home, I have a question about cycle menus and how you adapt to sales. So if you go to the grocery store to go buy your, whatever you're buying for your school meal program, and you discover that, I don't know, something
Beef is
yeah,
on sale.
on sale. How do you adapt?
Did you want to field that one, or?
So, a cycle menu has to have some flexibility in it and stuff too. So to Rachel's point, you go to the store, you don't have ground beef on it, all of a sudden there's this great deal on ground beef and you kind of want to stock up on it. Most of you likely don't have endless storage or even probably adequate storage, so you have to buy it. So one of the things that you can do is, like, with that flexibility, you have to have things that you would do, or the school gets donations as well too, right? Like, that can change what you're going to do. The cycle menu isn't meant to be a rule per se, as much as a guiding factor in what you're going to do. Conversely, if you have a product on your cycle menu that goes on sale and you use that product through other things, then you want to take advantage of that sale in order to stock up and be there for the next time. But depending on the size of your cycle menu, so like the 1 week one, for example, and stuff like that too, if you found a product on sale, you know you're using it every week, so you can put it through. Whereas if you have a larger one where it's a 3 or 4 week one, so you're changing items, you have 15 different items that you're going to cook over a 3 week period, then you're going to sit on the product longer, and then it would be based on what storage you have available. So that's kind of the thing. Like, I always used to joke when I get a turkey for Christmas to make it, I actually put it in my garage because my garage is actually colder than my freezer. But that wasn't true this year, right? Like, you can't do it. Like, even now in February, I might cool something outside or something like that because it's cold, but it's not. It's warmer than my fridge outside right now. So you have to be conscientious about, and I'm not recommending to store things outside.
It's been done
5
before by others.
seconds.
But that's the thing, like you have to look at what you have, like for your storage, your capacity to do those things, and how can you use it. Ideally, we'll talk about this down the road, but I'll use my mother-in-law's freezer, right? It's full to the top. I have no idea what's on the bottom, and I bet she doesn't either. And if your freezer's like that, that's a problem, because that means you're not moving food out and you're not making room for what you have. So you want to make sure that's where cycle menu will help out, because it helps you, your items are always moving and being rotated through effectively, and you always, generally speaking, know what's upcoming, right? So you're always can be prepared as much as possible. But you need that flexibility to take advantage of things that come your way, or unplanned things, right? You're going to do a hot meal today, but I don't know, there's a power outage, or your water pressure goes or something like that too, right? So you always kind of need a couple things in your back pocket that you can switch to in case of an emergency. And it's often good to have that idea in your head, or to have a plan within your menu to, something happens, I can change to this and not cause yourself much stress, right? So that answer.
So when you're planning your menus, what are some things that you think about? What are some of the factors that you consider when you're planning a menu?
Timing.
Timing?
Timing and numbers.
Yep, definitely.
Knowing how much people you're cooking for in a certain day, trying to get things timed right. Another principle I always consider is the thawing. Getting food thawed out at certain times for certain days.
Mm-hmm. Not having something big on Monday that isn't going to thaw in time, or
yes. And the cycle like you guys speak to as well, like if you're gonna have a soup for a certain day of the week, we'll have like a certain hamburger or chicken taken out days in advance before we have that soup, and that way it's, you know what I mean? Because I've learned a lot of that through camps in all my years, and I've always followed that concept of having the meat thawed out at perfect times and
Yeah.
for certain days, and so it's one of the principles.
That's
I
great.
guess, yeah.
Yeah, envisioning what it looks like to prepare
Yeah.
from start to finish.
You cook for the whole school?
No, we
Or a
cook,
certain
it's just a school
amount of
program.
kids?
It's a school program, which last year consisted of 80 kids. And as we speak right now, because I don't want to say so much about the home front or anything, but we cook for a guarantee about 150 to 250 in the morning sometimes.
Oh.
And that's not even considering all the students. If any given day we have all our students there, we're cooking for about 500, possibly 500 students.
Do they go by like, I'd say us, we cook for about over 120, over a little over 120, but it's only like when the kids pay and the teachers pay. Those are the only people we cook for. But after that, when there's leftovers, we quickly put them in a plate and go put them in a buoy for them to, whoever that they eat, whatever, they just grab it right there. Yeah, so.
We normally don't do that for teachers, or we
But
don't
it's
get
just
paid
that
for.
they pay for one whole month?
No, we just get monies for serving the kids that need the breakfast and lunch program. But like I said, we have I'd like to say kind of a crisis kind of situation where a lot of families don't even have food at home. So we have kids that come in that are hungry all the time.
Yeah, that's what I mean, like, after we're done cooking and we have leftovers, right, we quickly put them in a plate. So we could just go feed those other kids, we just leave them in the front there, and we'll tell the secretary, whoever that didn't eat, to come and grab a plate. Like, it's kind of free for them after dinner.
Yeah.
Because some of them can't afford it, like,
Yeah.
even
So
though
how
it's
do you
40,
portion out these kids?
Yeah.
Like what are you talking about?
Like, how do you portion out their lunch? Is
Yeah.
it like in a takeout container, or
Yeah.
how do you do it?
Yeah, we usually with containers as obvious. Because we don't go with, like say if a classroom has their own place and stuff like that, we're not going to go over there and serve them. Because it's a lot of time out of our time, you know what I mean? So we portion them out before we send them out when we have the
It
students.
is a lot of work serving them in takeout containers. Yeah, that's what I do too.
That's what I do. That's what
We serve 250 students a day. Every child gets to eat, and we don't charge them. So, and we're takeout containers, but we're just so pro at it now, it's not a big deal. At first it was overwhelming, but we know what we're doing now.
Yeah, it's an
Just set 'em
everyday
all out.
routine, right? Especially
Yeah.
when you have the helping hand, it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we have students that come in and deliver the
Because
food for
I'm
us.
the home ec teacher as well, my CC 30 students come in and help. So I'm teaching them how to cook certain.
And only high school comes into their
Only
district,
five.
grabs their food, and then the rest.
Is delivered by students.
That's great. Saves you, that's a big chunk of time for you. And so for all of you then, if it's going in containers, that's another thing you need to consider, right? Is what does it look like when it gets in that container? Kids eat with their eyes before anything else. So I guess what I'm getting at is, what are the things that we should be thinking about when we're planning menus? And I'm sure you already do, so we're gonna just briefly talk about some of these things. So number one is the equipment. Included in that would be how you serve and how you deliver the food, right? Cost is probably a pretty big one for you, I'm assuming, your personnel. So some of you have helpers, but not all of you, so that will impact what you're putting on your menu, right? Palatability, aesthetics, what does it look like? Taste, hopefully, is pretty important.
Sorry, what does palatability mean?
How is it, like, is it edible, basically? The variety, so depending if you're on a cycle menu, and if let's say, like in the school I worked, it was a month cycle menu, kids get tired of eating the same thing, but they also have their favorites that they like. So you kind of have to figure out what is it that I should keep and what should I improve on. And then of course, nutrition, we know, is very important. So today, when we're looking at our menus and tomorrow, we're gonna keep these things in mind. So we'll have you kind of put a menu out and we'll evaluate them for all these things. So the first one, with equipment, when you said pizza was one of your favorite things to make, I remember in North Battleford, I put mini pizzas on the menu and I was like, yes, I'm gonna make these mini pizzas and I'm gonna be a hero. But I had to make like 300 mini pizzas in 2 domestic ovens and it was traumatic. And we never had it again. So you really have to think about, as you're saying, envision your items when you're making, before you put them on your menu. How am I gonna make it? Like, let me walk through from start to finish. What does that look like? What capacity do I have? Am I using all my equipment that's available to me as well? Did you have anything to add on that?
Well, also to, like, the thinking of the equipment, so it can change what your menu is. Like, it can take items off of your menu very quickly by not doing it, like Jordan was saying, with pizzas, right? Like, if you know, it's a great idea, and she has, you know, probably 40 miniature sheet pans with 50 little pizzas on each one, and it actually takes longer to cook them all, and then it becomes inefficient and then ineffective. So, kind of thinking about all the things that you have, like even thinking about serving like takeout, right? Like, and I know there's little options in that too, but like long term, the takeout containers are actually eating into your food budget, right? You know, and so effective. But then, if you actually have dishes and you don't actually have a good dishwasher, like besides yourself, right? Like, you know, then you get into these inefficiencies, and it actually takes longer. So, and you know, to the takeout, like there's no sustainability for it, right? Like they rot, they wreck the land and everything. So, you know, it's about what can I do now, and then also about how do I want to improve it like moving forward if things were changed. So when you think about your equipment, kind of think about almost like envision yourself doing it, right? And envision it at those highest possible numbers. Like if you have the potential to do 500, you should be thinking about your menu in that higher range of numbers that you guys think you can capture, because realistically, that's what you could be doing. Even if you do a little bit less numbers, if you're always kind of having in your head what it looks like for doing your highest volumes possible, it'll help you with selecting items that make the most sense, right? And if you don't have the equipment,
Yeah, that's very true. I think equipment would be the #1 thing for cooks in the kitchen, because if we don't have the proper equipment, we cannot make certain things. And it also makes the food look better too, you know, if you have the right equipment.
Yeah, 100%. Right?
It seems so simple, but it's really easy to get caught up in what you'd like to make, and you think you can until you fail. And then you can't, right? Yeah.
Even with like the bannock though, like doing like fry bread and bannock and stuff like that too. Like a friend of mine used to be the chef at Waniscawen. They used to do a baked bannock because they didn't have like the frying capacity to do it. So if you were to do it on like big sheet pans and stuff, like it's not even about sometimes taking away from what you want to do, but is it possible to do it differently if it works in your facility better, right? And so it's just about like trying to think outside of it. And part of the reason that we're here talking about this, instead of like when you're in your kitchen and you're in it, you know, you have blinders on and you're just getting it done. You're doing what you need to do, right? This is the ability just to kind of step back and like just take a look at how am I doing this? Where do I think I need help? How can we do it better? Would this work, right? And then to go back and just try it a different way, or to, you know, try and streamline your systems, right? And just make it work for you. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. The other thing I think you guys should get out of here is you're all in the same boat, right? And you're all a resource to each other and stuff too, and have a connection amongst each other is going to be really important, right? Because you're kind of all going through the same thing, the same way, just at a different place. So, you know, it matters, right?
So in the interest of time, I'm going to go through these a little bit quickly so we can get to the actual doing some stuff, okay? So I don't know if any of you know the cost to produce your menus or if that's something that's on your radar. But if budget is an issue, there's a few quick ways that you can just think about making your menu more affordable. So you can either have on a plate a high cost item and a low cost item. So maybe you have fruit and eggs. Okay, so the fruit being a little bit more expensive, eggs being a little bit lower cost. You can look at your menu as a whole. So maybe on one day you have a high cost item and then the next day you have a low cost item. So without actually going through and pricing out how much it costs, you can look at it that way. Or you can look at it by day. So it's either by meal or by day. Just kind of knowing that if I have a high cost item, Monday, Tuesday, I need to balance that off with something that's maybe a little bit on the lower side. And I'm even hearing that with your breakfast program, right? Like you have maybe porridge one day and then you splurge and do fruit and eggs the next. So you're probably already doing that, but if you're intentional with it, that might help with that. So when we're working on our menus, we'll look at that too. We'll say, okay, do I have a lot of high cost items or do I have low cost items as well? I think, again, consider your skill level, which you probably already do, and plan for your strengths. So I talked about lasagna. I always used to put lasagna on the menu, and I hated making lasagna, so why would I put that on the menu, right? So cook things that you love to cook, and that your helpers are good at as well. And then palatability and aesthetics. So again, kids in particular are very picky, they're very particular. And so they eat with their eyes before anything. And so we need to make sure that it's pleasing, not just in flavor, but how it looks, how it tastes, some kids how it feels. You know what I'm talking about, right? So we need to consider these things too. I'm just gonna go through these here. So if we look, in terms of color. So what are the colors on your plate? The more colors you have, mostly the better. Some kids might see green and be like, ooh, I'm not touching it. So you know your kids, but generally speaking, we shouldn't have all the same color on a plate. We should have a difference of textures. So if you have a mashed potato, serve it with something crunchy, right? We don't want it all to kind of be mushy. Consistency. So the difference between texture and consistency is more like is it liquidy or solid. So offering like a sauce with something that's dry can be preferable. Kids love to dip things, so you can have something like that on the plate. Obviously, flavor is important. Shapes matter too, so we can do fun things with food. But also having different shapes. So if we look at the bow tie pasta, we have bow ties and then we have round. So different shapes look more appealing. If we have all round stuff on a plate, it's not as attractive to the eye as if we have different shapes. And then arrangement, balance. So that's when I'm plating it, what does it look like? Am I kind of just like swapping it on? Or have I thought about what it's going to look like in that container or in that plate? Where is everything going on it? And finally, a variety in how we prepare it. So with casseroles, for instance, everything is baked. That's a casserole. But if I'm cooking some like a roasted chicken, maybe then I'm going to do something up on the stove top to give a balance of equipment, but then also a balance of flavor too in the methods that I cook, right? Depending on what equipment's available.
Also about utilizing your space. If you have one oven, you're constantly putting things into the oven, to use the stove top to try and counter that high use, right?
So again, when we're going through our menus today and tomorrow, you can go back to this slide and kind of do a check. Like, is everything brown on my plate? Do I have some color? Can I offer some variety there? And then of course nutrition, which I'm not going to get into too much because we have a session on that tomorrow. And I think Cassie will probably speak more to that than I will be able to. So we'll get into that a little bit more. Okay, so as a quick review, just shout it out. Can you remember any of the things that we should consider when we're menu planning?
Cost.
Cost. Of course, the administrator was all about the cost. Timing, yes, we had a good one.
Equipment.
Equipment. Nutrition, variety, good. What's the obvious one? The taste, yeah. That's right. What our kids would like, yeah. What we are capable of making, right? I think you've got it. So if you want to turn to the reflection point in your manual, I'm not sure what page that's on. Does anyone have it in front of them? Page 4.
Page 4.
I'll give you a couple minutes now if you want to jot that down. Page 4, page 5? Page 4. Yeah. Take a minute to jot down your thoughts.
So, just in the interest of time, we'll kind of go through some of these cycle menu aspects. Kind of quickly, we talked about some of the points already, and kind of get to a point where you guys can kind of start working on one, and we can kind of help you with what you think you might need help with for today. So, like we talked about, the cycle menu, it's just a menu that happens like over, right? And for structured over the time, the advantages, like with costing, you know what's working, you're ordering, you know, right? Like you know what to have in hand. Disadvantages is it's a bit repetitive. It can get boring on your side if you want to have some creativity and stuff like that too, and then the time investment. This is an example of a cycle menu. It doesn't have a
I'll just hold it.
There's a little foot on the bottom there.
Okay, that's something.
Okay. So this one is like great Monday to Friday, breakfast and lunch, and then the following week, Monday to Friday, breakfast and lunch. So, you know, there's a variety of different things here too. And ideally, from a cycle menu standpoint, and from what you guys have, you do not want Monday to be an intensive day, right? Because Monday is coming in Friday. So you kind of want to think about like what would be, like how should you start? Because Monday you're going to probably need more time, right? So you want to kind of like think about it like that as you do it, and keeping in mind again too your equipment. You know who you're feeding, you know what they like, but also too, right? How you can't serve pizza every day, right? So how do you introduce other it wouldn't be good for them, and you get bored, right? So you kind of think about that, and these are just random ideas and different things too. They're not suggestions or anything like that, but we can definitely help with that.
We already went through that.
Yeah. Can you spot the mistakes in this menu sort of thing? So this is just an idea of like if this was a cycle menu, like what do we think is like kind of wrong with this, or what would happen? Not necessarily from the items that it says, but just like from how it's built or put together. Any ideas?
So if we're talking balance, appeal, nutrition, cost, and you look here, what are some things that stand out that might not fit what we've talked about?
I would think like salmon and roast chicken back to back, like that's two pretty expensive, and the cauliflower, like you're looking at two fairly expensive meal items.
That's right, yeah. What else? I heard something else.
Friday.
What's wrong?
Ham and cheese quiche. And then you're having your egg salad. You're having
Yeah, it's egg on egg, that's right.
From Friday.
I would eat it before.
We only do that.
Yeah, not a lot of balance offered there, that's right. So not a lot of balance, maybe availability, cost, anything else?
What about like crepes on Monday morning?
That's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be way too much work.
And Tuesday's like creamy rice, creamy fettuccine, creamy.
Yeah.
Monday lunch is also
fairly saucy. That's right, consistency is off there, yeah.
Saucy meatballs and cream.
And I think you gotta take the kids factor, cooking for kids, and is that something the kids wanna eat? Like,
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Is this menu targeted to your audience?
Yeah. And one more I'll point out is when, we're talking about color, let's look at Wednesday, we've got roast chicken, mashed potatoes, cauliflower. Those are all the same color, so you're gonna have kind of brown, white on your plate, not a lot of appeal there.
It's gray. Lunch is
Yeah.
gray today.
Great.
I would also say too, like, say for instance, you have like your bacon scrambled and you have like a beef barley. I like that idea because it's like kind of like you got a bigger meal and then you got a lighter menu afterwards. Because if you're trying to cook two big meals at
Yes.
the same time and you only got so much help and time,
Yep.
you're putting a lot of work on the dish.
We do.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So you want to kind of keep it.
Thursday on this menu has the least amount, like there's really no issue with the Thursday menu, right? So that's a good thing to catch too, per se.
Yes. Yeah, so you all got it, so I think from there, if you go to your manual, again, is that page 5?
what are we gonna do?
The menu, yeah.
Page 6,
Page 6. So if you go to page 6, there's a section for you to fill out a menu. So throw on there some items that you think you would like to have, and then let's workshop them together. Share them with your table. We'll kind of walk by if you have any questions, and let's have a look. We'll see how.
So you guys are gonna build just a 1-week cycle menu based on what you already know, some of the things that we've talked about, and what you think will actually work. So think of your own kitchens, your own facilities, think about the kids that you serve, like all the things you already know, and then think about like, okay, what would they like, and then what makes sense for me to do, and am I kind of spacing this out? Like build a menu that would work in your space, that you think your kids would like, that would take into effect some of the things that we've talked about, that would be sensible, right? And we'll come around and help out, or we can ask any questions. Does that make sense?